All right, good morning. So I'm here to present to you about remembering the journey and a little bit about power of perseverance. Going to share some information with you about me and then get into how it relates to my work as a leader and an educator. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Laurie Birkenmeyer. I'm currently the building principal of Rockwood South Middle School. I've been at Rockwood South for the past 5 years. I'm going into year 6 as a Falcon. And prior to working in the Rockwood School District, I was a building principal at Hazelwood North Middle School in the Hazelwood School District. I was actually there for 9 years and had the opportunity to open North Middle School as a brand new building. I was in the Hazelwood School District for a total of 17 years and actually graduated from the Hazelwood School District, all prior to before coming to Rockwood. Now we can jump way back to when I was a young kid. I still remember the values that my parents continually embedded within me and shared with me growing up. And the very first thing from little on, I kept hearing, you can be anything you want to be, anything. The next thing that I remember always hearing is that you are going to college, but you need to have a scholarship because we can't pay for it. So I remember that mantra that my mom continued to share with me because my family did not have much money when I was young. My dad was a school teacher and my mom cleaned houses for a living. And so making ends meet was sometimes extremely difficult for my family. I remember it well. However, my parents continued to share with me that I was going to be going to college and that I needed to have a scholarship. So achievement was extremely, extremely important. The other piece that my parents always shared with me is whatever you do, give 100%. 100% effort is always important, and take pride in everything and anything that you do. And that any job, any profession, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you are giving your best effort to that profession or to the work that you do. That makes it important. That makes it have value. It's essential to give 100% effort. And so those were the values that my parents continually embedded within me. So as this little kid, I was about second grade, 1984. I will never forget watching the Summer Olympics that year. And I don't know if you remember this, but the women's basketball team won the gold medal in that Olympic series. I believe it took place in Los Angeles. And I just watched with amazement. And I remember looking over at my parents and I said, that's going to be me. I want that. I'm going to play in the Olympics. And to my parents' credit, they didn't discourage it. And they said, that's a lot of hard work. But if you want that, go for it. And they continued to encourage me. Now, granted, that little kid, second grade, must have been about 7, 8 years old. And at that point in time, I began training, if you can believe that, like a second grader would. But I didn't even have a basketball hoop at my house. I didn't have a basketball hoop until I hit 7th grade. But I was that kid that took a ball everywhere I went. I was constantly dribbling a ball, constantly figuring out ways to make up games that involved basketball with my neighborhood friends. And so it was a constant commitment for me. As part of my dream, eventually I decided that I was going to need to be a freshman on the varsity basketball team when I was in high school, that was an indicator that I was on track to reach my goal. Another indicator I had set for myself is that I was going to need to play Division I NCAA basketball. That was going to assist me in reaching my goal. So I had all of these short-term goals that I would set for myself in order to reach that long-term goal of playing basketball in the Olympics. And so as part of this goal, I started attending many, many basketball camps in the summer. From about fourth grade on, I was I guess you'd call a gym rat. I was constantly in the gym trying to play basketball anywhere, anytime I could. And before I hit middle school, before seventh grade, a coach of an affluent school district here in St. Louis recognized recognized my talent, and he said that basically it was a raw talent, didn't have a lot of good coaching, but he could see that, as he said, I'd run through a brick wall for a coach. And so he came and talked to my parents and really wanted me to attend his school. The only problem was that my family could not afford for me to go to that school. It was a private all-girls school, and it was extremely costly even back then. So this coach talked with other administrators, other individuals at that school, and this coach enabled me to get a scholarship to attend the school for very little cost to my family. I was super, super excited to attend this school, but I will tell you, in getting there, it was extremely difficult for me. And part of that difficulty is that I ended up having to become something I wasn't. As part of school, every morning when I walked through those doors, I knew that I was different from everyone else. All of the other families I recall had, large homes, expensive cars. They were wealthy, to say the least. In my eyes, they were wealthy, and I remember being fearful that kids would find out that I had less. I remember being fearful that kids would find out that I lived in a small home. I also remember having my parents pick me up an hour and a half after school had ended every single day. And I would sit in the library of the school, and I would do homework or whatever other assignments I had every single day. But the reason I did that was because I didn't want other kids to see the car that my family drove, because it was a very old car and kind of dilapidated, the car that my dad had driven. And so it was easy for me to say, well, my family just can't pick me up at that time. And so I wait until my family is off work. But that convenient excuse allowed me to not be out in front of the school getting picked up when all of the other kids were also getting picked up. And so I became, at a very early age, learned how to put up a front, to be something I'm not, all the while still pursuing a goal and a dream. And so feeling this way as a young kid, that I don't belong here, but yet the basketball court was the one place where I felt completely at home. And it was because it was an even playing field. It was where I could hold my own. It was a place where I could work extremely, extremely hard and see the benefit. And so that was still my haven and my place where I felt like I did belong. And so, in thinking back to those experiences and how they continued to shape me, I realize now that what I was exemplifying was a lot of grit and a growth mindset to continue to improve myself and to make it through a time in my life that was extremely difficult for me, and one that I will never forget, and certainly has helped me to become the person that I am today. As a kid, I also watched a lot of Rocky movies. I used to love Rocky. I mean, who doesn't? The underdog that can withstand any punch, still is, doesn't matter how many times he gets knocked down. He always gets back up. And in the end, it's almost like his opponent beats himself because he doesn't understand how Rocky can keep getting back up. That was something that I wanted to be. It was a work ethic I wanted to aspire to. And so there's a quote from that movie, and it says, "It ain't about how hard you get hit. It's not about how hard you hit, excuse me. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." And so it's all about how many times are you going to get up when you fall? Will you get up every single time? And that's important in life, no matter if you're playing a sport or if it's simply daily life. It's key to remember. And so that mantra, again, is one of the things that helped to propel me forward. And so I look back on, okay, so what is grit? And put simply, it's getting up every single time you fall. It's having the courage and the strength to pursue your goals, no matter how pie in the sky those goals might seem, no matter who says that's ridiculous, there's no way you're going to do that. It is having the strength and the courage to continue to pursue them anyway. There's a TED Talk all about grit, and Angela Lee Duckworth is the one who runs this TED Talk, and she says that grit is the strongest predictor for success. And so when we're looking at kids in school, it's not about what comes easy to you. It's not about your MAP scores or your state assessment scores. It really and truly is how hard do you work? How much effort do you put in? And when mistakes come, because mistakes, failures, setbacks, challenges, they're all going to come. How do you persevere through them? That's key. And so helping our kids to learn how to do that is all what I'm about and what I want to do as a leader of our school. So in jumping back to what I became in middle school, again, I shared that I quickly learned to hide that my family didn't have much money. I learned how to fit in, how to keep others at a distance so that they wouldn't know the real me. I didn't think they'd like the real me. My family had less money. I learned that I was the underdog on the basketball court very quickly, which I was okay with, but I was seen as the kid who had a lot of talent, but not much teaching. And my goals and my work ethic are what propelled me to continue to move forward always. So I knew going into school that I had to not only push myself athletically, but that I had to give my best effort as well academically. Again, that value that my parents set for me, that you put 100% effort into whatever you do, was continually lasting. And so I was working on each and every day, maintaining my schoolwork assignments and training athletically just to pursue my goals. Well, unfortunately, I did not reach. I didn't reach my ultimate goal. I'm sure you didn't see me in the 2000 Olympics or in the 2004 Olympics even. I was not able to become an Olympic athlete. I will share, I also didn't reach my goal of becoming an NCAA Division I athlete. I actually played Division III basketball at Fontbonne University. And for many, many years, I have seen that as a failure, that I didn't reach my goal. It took me quite a long time to reflect on what I really did learn and the goals that I really did reach as part of the journey in attempting to reach those two very large goals. And there's quite a bit of learning within that journey that really does make me who I am today. I did gain an athletic and academic scholarship that nearly paid for all of my college education. And so I did achieve that goal. I went to college and I did pay for it with a scholarship. And again, I did learn many, many extremely valuable lessons in pursuing this dream that have helped me to be the educator and the leader that I am today. And so in looking a little bit more at growth mindset and how do we create an environment focused on goal setting and growth for our kids, because that's what this is about. How do we help our kids who are currently in school? And as I shared, I'm a middle school principal, and there's a very good reason, as you can hear, why I'm a middle school principal. I really do feel like middle school is the age where our kids are most in need of support as they navigate the world. It is a time when our kids are beginning to challenge the status quo. They're beginning to face the pressure of, do I still continue to follow the values that I've learned from my family, or is this a time where I begin to create my own values? And that's often a time where influences from peers begin to set in, and they take a critical look at the world around them. And so I'm here by design. I'm here because this is an age that I feel is honestly in most need of support and guidance for their future. It's a critical time. And so I always think of Dory and the Little Nemo, of just keep swimming when I think about growth mindset. But as leaders and educators, we must constantly consider how to create an environment where making mistakes and facing challenges is an opportunity for learning. It has to be authentic. Kids have to have the ability to work through challenges with our support alongside them. We have to be able to build a community of continual learners where the journey is just as important, if not more important, than the actual destination. And we have to help kids to be able to reflect on that, whether kids reach their goal or they didn't reach their goal. That tool of being able to sit down and reflect upon all of the things that went right along the way, all of the things that they learned along the way, that's where the power in learning is. It's not about the 100% at the top of your paper. It's not about the sticker at the top of your paper. It really is truly about the learning experience and helping kids to reflect on the steps that they took to achieve, or the steps that they took that may have went wrong, that led to that challenge, or how they worked and persevered through that challenge. That's where the true learning occurs. And so as part of that, goal setting is essential. And I look at how can we as educators and as leaders support our staff and our students in setting long-term goals and short-term goals that they are passionate about achieving. Many times we ask kids to set goals, or we lead them in setting goals, and the goal that the student will set is, I want to have straight A's, or I want to make sure that I at least score an A on my next project. But what does that look like? And is it an authentic goal? Is it a goal that allows a student to make a difference? Is it a goal that is going to be lasting and that is going to propel them when they face challenges? Those are the kind of goals that we need to help our kids in setting. They need to be truly meaningful to them. And again, reflection is key in this process. Students need to have the time to think about their progress and to reevaluate their goal. That's essential. And so we need to make sure that we're building that into our process of learning. If it's important, there needs to be time for it. Again, learning has to be relevant. It's got to be meaningful to our kids, and our kids have to find purpose in it. I can't tell you how often we get into the habit of telling kids exactly what we want them to do, exactly when we want them to do it, exactly how we want them to do it. And then we want them to be really excited about doing exactly what we said they need to do. And we're surprised when they're not. But really and truly, it's because we are designing the layout for their learning. How can we empower our kids to have the opportunities to engage in a learning experience that allows them to make a difference? How can we empower them to look at ways within our community, ways within their own home, ways within their own lives where they can make a difference, and then give them the forum and the platform to use the curricular skills to make a difference? potentially with other kids or with one another. So they're learning about different perspectives and how to work through challenges with others as they pursue this goal. Problem-based learning is I'm sure a term you've heard a lot, but that's one method that can be used to engage kids in working through challenges to accomplish a meaningful goal while establishing a connection for every single kid, because every single kid then they have a voice, they have a say in what that learning looks like. And it does become an authentic learning experience for that student. So if you remember that middle school kid that became someone else at school, and that was me, an authentic learning experience for a kid like me or any student who's walking into school that feels that they don't belong, it provides them with an opportunity to reconnect with themselves and to really consider the strengths within their life and to then put themselves in a position of power to make a difference for themselves, for their family, for their community, and for others. It's essential that we provide kids with that opportunity. And probably one of the reasons why at Rockwood South, our mission statement is discover, connect, and make a difference, because our kids have the power to make a difference right now. So often we just need to get out of their way so they can. And as educators, it's extremely essential to remember that these opportunities can take place with any kid, with any family, in any financial situation, and in any community. It's simply providing kids the forum to use the skills within our curriculum to make a difference for others. And nothing's more authentic than that. Again, it's got to be real. It's got to be real, and it has to be an opportunity where kids have choice, where they have a voice in what they want to pursue. And as they are facing challenges, our job as educators is really and truly to work alongside them, to ask the right questions, and to help them to navigate those challenges, not giving all the answers, but assisting them with the right questions so that our kids can persevere and learn what that sense of perseverance and accomplishment feels like as they seek to reach their goals. Arthur Ashe, another favorite quote of mine is that success is a journey. It's not a destination. The doing is often more important than the actual outcome, and that is so true for learning. It's not about the destination. It's not about, okay, that test is over and now I can forget every single thing that I jammed in my head because guess what? It's all on Google. It's not about that. It is truly about reaching that goal, and whether you achieve it or not. It is about the journey. It is about all of the learning that took place as you encountered those challenges, as you had to learn different perspectives of group members and work through the best way to do something, or learn about how to work around all of those potholes in the road, so to speak. Which direction to go when you hit that fork in the road. Our kids are the ones that need to be in the driver's seat to be able to make those decisions. That's what builds grit and perseverance. And so we need to continue to teach grit. In the day and age, again, where tons of content, you can look it up. Our kids are walking around with computers. Most of them are walking around with computers constantly, their phone. They can readily search on Google to find facts. But how do we teach perseverance and grit? And that's what's going to be key for our kids in being successful in life and in their own well-being. And so through that goal setting process and authentic experiences, we must continue to provide our kids with the space to make mistakes, the space to encounter challenges rather than fixing it for them and wanting to jump in and remove those challenges. We're only hurting our kids when we're seeking to do that, because this is what propels our kids to move forward and to continually persevere. As I shared with you, I didn't reach my goals, not my my longest long-term goals. I didn't reach those, but I reached a whole lot of short-term goals along the way. And I will share that those long-term goals, while many people would have laughed if they had heard them and said, "That's ridiculous, Laurie. There's no way. I mean, you're 5'7". You're not making the Olympics." But many people may have laughed at that goal. But I will tell you what, because my family continued to support me and didn't tear it down, that goal became so powerful for me that it helped to push me through many challenges. And it truly led me to the core values that I have today. And honestly, the work ethic I have today and the passion that I have for supporting our kids each and every day, it comes from there. It comes from that place in my heart. And so my hope, in conclusion, my hope is that our schools will be a safe place for our kids to dream and to feel a sense of belonging. Every kid needs to feel a sense of belonging within our schools. Our schools need to be a safe place for our teachers to be able to try new ideas and to be able to implement creative ways of engaging and empowering our students. We can't have kids who, we can't expect our teachers to allow our kids to persevere through challenges if we don't let our teachers do that. And if we don't let our teachers to have the power and the freedom to dream and to create. I mean, some of their lessons may not go as planned, but you know what? It's okay if we can reflect on that and look back to, okay, how did we get here and what things went well? And how do we want to continue learning? We need to do the exact same thing for our educators if we want our educators to do that for our children. And then as leaders, our encouragement, our guidance, the ability to be vulnerable, and our resilience are constantly going to be keys to providing our kids with a journey to remember. We must do that as leaders. We must do it for our kids. We must do it for our staff, and we must do it for our community. And again, if the goal is that meaningful and that powerful to you, you will stop at nothing until you achieve that. I thank you for your time and listening today. And I hope you found this somewhat helpful. Remember, it's all about the journey.
You can hit stop recording.
I don't know how to hit it or even how to stop share.
It should be at the bottom.